Agud Voch Rabboisai. Leilu Nishmasi Mimirasi Respas Mordechai. So Rabboisai, we're holding Daf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, 40 Daf into Zevachim. To remind the Olam, we had a Kavachomer from Rabbi Shmuel. He says as follows: if you have two animals that are very different, one is a bull and one is a goat, one is a par helam davar, that's the bull that you bring when the Sanhedrin paskins wrongly and they say that a piece of chaylev, fat, is mutter to you, a certain type is mutter, and most of Klal Yisrael, you have to bring a par helam davar. There's the seir of Yom Kippur, and since we can learn halachas one from the other, so specifically the dam toval, what's the lashon over there? Here, as dam batfila, something like that. It's not 100%, but as dam batfila. These halachas that even if you have a blister and you have to start out in the vessel with enough blood to dunk your finger and not to roll your finger around, but to dip it in. So if you could learn, the Kavachomer is if you could learn two different animals, one from the other, even though they're very different, and we're learning halachas one from the other, so certainly when the animals are the same type. One is a par kohen gadol, one is a par Yom Kippur. They're brought for different things. One is on Yom Kippur, one is it's very similar to par helam davar, but when the kohen gadol, the gadol hadar, paskins his own halacha, okay, so can we also learn halachas one from the other? He says. Why do we need a pasuk? We can learn the halachas from a kavachomer. So now we're holding two lines from the top. It's like in the middle of a sugi, but it's okay. We're daf yomi, we're going weiter. I just explained about Pet. So he says as follows: once we have this idea that you can learn one animal from the other animal, so I have another two types of animals that are very similar. If I'm learning Sar Yom Kippur from Par Helam Davar, so why can't I learn the Sar Yom Kippur from the Sar Avodah Zarah? Kavachomer. If two animals that are different, you have a bull and a goat, and you're learning halachas one from the other, so certainly two goats, you should be able to learn the halachas one from the other. Now what? You learn different halachas, different things that happen with the Sar Avodah Zarah, you'll do with the Sar Yom Kippur. But says the Gemara, B'chidavar halamid behekesh, choyzer melamed kavachomer. The Sar Avodah Zarah, we learn from a hekesh, this idea of ezbat dam batfila. So how are you going to go and he learned it behekesh? The only way you know the Sar of Avodah Zarah, the one in the right bottom corner, so you know it from a hekesh. Now you want to take something that you learned with the hekesh and teach it to another goat. You yourself, you're not mefurish in the Torah. You yourself, you learned, you had to use a limud to find this halacha out. How are you going to teach it to somebody else? Now, if you wanted to make a hekesh from Yom Kippur to Avodah Zarah, certainly you can't do it. But the Gemara is saying, even since we see this idea that you shouldn't be able to learn one thing from the other, if the whole source, the one on the bottom right, the source is not a pasuk, it's a hekesh. To make a hekesh from Yom Kippur to Avodah Zarah, you certainly can't do. But also, you shouldn't be able to do a kavachomer and say, look, if you're learning a goat from a bull, so certainly you should be able to learn a goat from a goat. Can't do that, says the Gemara. So says the Gemara, it's not a problem. He holds he could. Yes, the black goat over there, the Sar Avodah Zarah, was, you learned all the halachas for him, not all, but some of the halachas you learned from a hekesh. In return, he could teach the white goat, the Sar Avodah Zarah, the Sar Yom Kippur, other halachas through a kavachomer. With a kavachomer, you can learn from a hekesh. A hekesh you can't learn from a hekesh. All right. Next sugya. Just the overview. I don't know if this will help or ruin. I'm just going to throw it in here. The par helam davar. There's different bulls, right? We have the par Elam Davar, we have the par of Yom Kippur, we have the par of the Kohen Gadol. Par Elam Davar, everybody agrees that all the halachas over there, everything you have to do with the blood and everything, the 7, the 4, is ma'akev. If you miss one of the bloods, it's all over. We're going to see this. There's a word, hachatos, teaches us that the Avodah Zarah goat is like par Elam Davar, it's ma'akev. The first par of the pasuk I showed you the pasuk. We learned it a few times. We'll see today. It says in the pasuk twice par. The first one is that the Kohen Gadol's par is ma'akev. So we have the Elam Davar is ma'akev, the Sarah of the Zara is ma'akev, the par Kohen Gadol is ma'akev. Now what do you do with the second par? So Rebbe says it comes for the par of Yom Kippur, everything, and the Taras Kahanim says not for everything in Yom Kippur, but the idea of es tava badam. And Rabbi Shmuel says, no, es tava badam, I have a kavachaymer, I don't need a special pasuk. So that's an overview. So now let's see inside. Here's the pasuk of par. V'asala par kasha asala par achatos. After the Torah teaches us all these psukim, tells us exactly what to do. Kol Hadas Yisrael is referring to par Elam Davar when the Sanhedrin makes a mistake. What do? Sprinkle the blood 7 times. What else do you do? Pasuk Yud Ches, put the blood on the mizbeach. Then it says, you should do what you should do. We already said what you do. It's a repetition. But the 2 pars. Lapar is a par Elam Davar shel tzibur. So that we said it was the first thing on the chart. Par Elam Davar shel tzibur is ma'akev. As the Gemara, habatzibur gufei ksiv. There's the psukim that tell you what you have to do. Habatzibur gufei ksiv. You're right. It's coming to tell us a new chiddush. I don't know if you recall this picture. We have different ones today. The kidneys and the diaphragm, which Benny says today is skirt steak or something like that. Here, over here, you can see it. Is the diaphragm, and here's the kidneys. These 2 things have to be put on the mizbeach. Okay. Now, let me show you this. This is very important. This is gewaldig. This explains the sugi in a second. Any young kid could understand it. Where does it say the idea of Yiseres Shtei Kloyos? The diaphragm and the two kidneys? It says it only once. Where? Par Kohen Gadol. So I'm going to do a hekesh. Hekesh means if I find this halacha here, I'm going to learn it by here. I'm going to learn it by Par Elam Davar. So now I know Par Elam Davar, another bull, when the Sanhedrin make a mistake, they realize that their mistake, they bring 1 bull for the whole Klal Yisrael. But you have to put the Yiseres, you have to put the diaphragm, the 2 kidneys on the. How do I know it? Par Kohen Gadol. I'm going to do another hekesh from Par Elam Davar. Here we saved you your seed, Davi, and we're going to learn it to the Sawyer of Avodah Zarah. What's the problem with this, Rabbi Isai? Based on the video that we just saw, it's a hekesh from a hekesh. The only way I know Par Elam Davar is from Par Kohen Gadol. The Sawyer of Avodah Zarah, the goat of Avodah Zarah all the way to the left, is 2 steps removed from Par Kohen Gadol. I can't learn Par Elam Davar and then teach. You have to be the source. If I were to learn the Sawyer of Avodah Zarah directly from Par Kohen Gadol, great. But I'm not learning from there. Says the Gemara Gevaldik, take a look at this. Boom. The word lapar. That's what the word lapar comes to teach us. That it's as if the Yiseres Shtei Kloyos were said and told us by Par Elam Davar. No, and now that I know it by Par Elam Davar, I have the right gil to go from Par Elam Davar to Sir Avodah Zarah. It's geschmack. Let's now read it inside. Now that we know the pshat, let's read it inside and tell me if you understand it. Mishum de boy agmuri par Elam Davar shel tzibur biyoseres v'shtei kloyos l'sir Avodah Zarah. I want to teach Sir Avodah Zarah on the left from Par Elam Davar. Upar Elam Davar shel tzibur begufei lo iksiv, and you should know that the middle guy, the Par Elam Davar, doesn't even say it in the Torah. Be'keisha asi. I got it from a hekesh from where? From Par Kohen Gadol. Itzrich lapar. That's why I need the word lapar. Lemehevi kiman dechsibe begufei. It's ki'ilu. Now we pretend that the Yiseres and the Shtei Kloyos are ki'ilu. They're inside. It said it in Par Elam Davar. And now I don't have a problem of something that was learned from a hekesh. The parallel davar was learned from the Par Kohen Gadol. It cannot teach. It could teach now because lapar solidifies it. So the same thing that we just said over again. Like Reb Papa, that what the word lapar comes to teach us that it shouldn't be a problem of you can't learn from a hekesh. Why do you need the word lapar? It says by the goats of Avodah Zarah. I'll show you the pasuk. You'll see that it's. Look at this. The Gemara is learning that everything, that the last three lines in this pasuk are completely extra, not necessary. It already says there's a shaygig, there's a kapara. And then it says, "V'hei mevivus karbanim." We know they brought a carbon. Ish Hashem. V'chatasam lefnei Hashem ashigasam. It's mamish extra. Chatasam elusir avodah zarah. The word chatasam is the chet of avodah zarah. You see in old psukim, it applies to avodah zarah. Shigigasam. What's a shaygig? That's a lashon that comes from parallel davar. I don't remember the lashon anymore. What was the lashon? Whatever. Anybody remember the lashon? Yizgu, yeah. Shigasam is a parallel davar shel tzibur. So in Meila we say chatasam al shigasam. We take those two words that are together. Chatasam shigasam. Omer Torah chatasam. This avodah zarah harei l'cha kishigasam. That what? It's like the Helam Davar. Just like Helam Davar, you have to be makter de murim. You have to take the kidneys and put them on the mizbeach. Shigasam mechel amata loy behekesh. Now you just learned that from a hekesh from a kohen gadol. Can you learn again? Is a parallel davar shel tzibur. The par zeh par kohen Mashiach. So we just learned. Chatasam elusir avodah zarah. The word chatasam from this pasuk right over here is referring to the avodah zarah, the goat of avodah zarah. As the Gemara, what about the other pasuk that we saw before? V'asal apar here, this pasuk v'asal apar. Domamar hachatas l'rabbi sir avodah zarah. So the Gemara says, Omar Papa, itzrich, I need it. So good that the chamina hanim ili hazois d'chsivim bu. When it comes to sprinkling the blood and everything, that says mefurish. I could learn one from the Rabbi Yiseres. It doesn't say by Helam Davar mefurish. I think you don't learn it out. Kamash you do. So all the zrikas are ma'akev. You're saying we're talking about this. You're saying that only this is the ma'ez badam betfila. No, everything is ma'akev. Says, well, you're right, Tanoihi. In fact, the machlokes Tanoim, if it's everything, all the zrikas and everything, or it's only this ezbad dam tefillah. Tanoihi Tana the Beirav Mirabi Hachi. They learn the par. No, it's only ezbad dam betfillah. This thing. And Tana Beirav Shmuel Mirabi Hachi. Rabbi Shmuel learns everything. All the hazos are ma'akiv. Tana Beirav Shmuel. We have a little agat there, Rabbi Isai. Enjoy while it lasts. Why does the Torah tell us this halacha of Yiseres, the diaphragm and the kidneys, by the bull of the Mashiach? Why not by other things? And you have to learn the hekesh. It's a mashal to a king who was very upset at his friend, and he didn't tell everybody what he did because he loves him so much. Yeah, Klal Yisrael messed up a little bit with what they did in Aveira. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to get into it and then start in public. So he just said he doesn't talk about the klois and the Yiseres HaKav. V'tana the very small. Take a look at this pasuk over here. It says V'hiza Sheva Pamim in red, smack in the middle. Lifnei Hashem eis pnei aparoiches. What's missing? HaKodesh. Doesn't say Kodesh. Yet, over here, by Par Kodesh Mashiach, it says Kodesh. Doesn't say by Par Davar. Mashal Melech Basav Adam. Another mashal. There was a king, Shesar Chalav Medina. People rebelled. If it's just a few people, it's a minority. So he keeps everybody in place. But if most of the population, the majority, they rebelled, the mashal is that when most of Klal Yisrael does an Aveira, so Kaviyachal Kadosh Baruch Hu takes away the Kedusha from, it's not Paroiches HaKodesh, it's not, he takes away the Kedusha. We're talking about if you do the Zrikas Hadam inside the Heichal, every single one of the Zrikas is Ma'akev. Ma'akev, yeah, you can't get away. If you do 6 instead of 7 on the floor, you got to do it all over. If you do everything with the proper intent, but one of them you had a pigul intent, you thought about eating it in a week from now. Why is there no karis? Why is this not real pigul? If you thought about it, 1 out of the 7, why is it not real pigul? The answer is because ein mefaglim b'chatzi mater. You remember that one? This is one of the musagim in Kachim. Mefaglim b'chatzi mater, or ein mefaglim b'chatzi mater. What does that mean? Since they're all necessary, all 7 are necessary, so in order for your machshava, your thought, to take effect, you have to have that thought in all 7. If you have the thought in just 1 out of the 7, it's possible. Ve'ein by karas, there's no karas. So says the Gemara, not awesome people about koimitz veloy belavayna, belavayna veloy bekoimitz. Geschmack. This is what a mincha looks like. Some menachos. At least it has 2 out of these 3 components. You have flour in the middle, of course, and then you have the frankincense on the right, and you have oil on the left. Not every mincha has oil. Take a look at this. This is geschmack. Because you were right, by the way, Benny. I was wrong. You're going to see over here, putting it on the mizbeach is rika. So this is similar. We spoke about this. Is similar to shechting an animal. Here it goes. What's this? Kmitza, and what does it correspond to? Shchita. Okay, hold on. It says on the screen. That's shchita. Good, geschmack. Next. Putting it the second kli is called Kabbalah. Now he's just throwing in some salt. And that's the levina. Take the levina out. Now he's walking it to the... And that's the zrika. So you saw the shchita, Kabbalah, Hilach, zrika. Givaldik. So, Pigul ba'koimitz v'loy b'lavayna. What if he thought of pigul, of eating it after its time, when he was doing the kmitza, but not, or I'm sorry, when he put the koimitz onto the mizbeach, not by the lavayna, but lavayna v'loy b'koimitz. One of the 2. Since in order for the mincha to work, you have to put both the flour and the levina on the mizbeach. So Mela, if you have a pigul thought in 1 out of the 2, it's not enough. It's a half a matter. Remeir says it is a pigul. Now, why is it pigul? This guy is walking to the mizbeach and he throws the flour onto the fire. And while he's throwing the flour on the fire, not the levina, not the, he's thinking to himself, I'm going to eat the mincha in 2 weeks from now. But he didn't do that same achshava with the frankincense. Why is that pigul? Huh? It is a matter. Levine is a matter. So we're not going that way. It's a matter, 100% a matter. So why is it? It could be 2 for 2 reasons. Either because we hold mefaglim b'chatzi matter. Either Rebbeir holds that half is okay. I could do pigul on half, 1 out of the 2 things. So I did it with the koimitz, or I did it just with the levina, not with the kmitza, or I did it just with the kmitza. That's okay. There's one other thing that's possible. Ha'isa al das rishoinu ha'isa. that when I start off something thinking it's pigul, then my thought continues to the next thing as well. So he put on the kmitza, and then he put on the levaina. By the kmitza, he had a thought of, I'm going to eat it in a week from now. So that thought continues weiter. So says the Gemara, do not say that the pshat is Remeir holds that if I do a kmitza without the levaina, I'm over on pigul. Why? Because I could be mefagel and half of it. No. The point is that he did a kmitza with a bad thought and the levaina without any thought. He holds like the second musug in kachim. It's actually a musug in all shas. Where else do we find this idea of kala isa that's rishayna isa? We find it in a number of places. Like you go to the matzah bakery, they'll tell the women over there that L'shei matzahs mitzvah, say it in the morning one time. Hopefully, they try to remember to say it every 5 minutes, but they'll say it once and say your machshavas for the whole day. When a sefer writes a sefer Torah, he does it l'shem Kedush Sefer Torah. He says once, hopefully it lasts for the entire Sefer Torah. Obviously, he tries to do it every day. Okay, so says the Gemara, Mimai, how do you know this? What does it say? If he did a ketikna. Ketikna means he did 1, 2. There's 4 hazais they got to do on the mizbeach. He did 1, 2, 3 without any thought. If he did thought number on the hazah number 4, he had a machshav of pigul. What's the halacha? It's possible and there's no karas. What about if he did reverse? Rabbi said, what if he did reverse? What's reverse? Mashma, that if he did reverse, the first one was pigul. 2, 3, 4, he didn't think of anything. Mashma, it's pigul. So what do you see from here? So it says the Gemara inside. How do you know this? Mimai. He did the bad one at the end. But what if he did the bad one, the bad thought, in the beginning? Pigul. Now wait a minute. Mani, who does it go according to? If it goes according to Rabbanon, it can't be. Look, the bottom one cannot be pigul according to Rabbanon. Why? Because according to Rabbanon, you have to have the thought of pigul 1, 2, 3, 4, and all 4. You can't just do pigul with one thought, with one azah. Ela Remeir. It must be Remeir. But if it's true that this goes according to Remeir, and why? Why does it go? Why is it pigul? Because maybe, let's go step by step. Why is the second case on the bottom, where he thought in the beginning, his first hazah, his first application of the dam was a machshav of pigul, and you're saying that that's mamish pigul, and he gets karas. He didn't do it in 2, 3, 4. So what's the answer? The answer is because mefaglim b'chatzi mater. It's enough to do half. Well, wait a minute. So then the case on top of that also, he did half, and over there he doesn't get karas. It's only possible. How come? Elamai, you have to say the pshat is in the bottom. The reason why the bottom you get karas is because his thought started and ends. It keeps on going. His thought of pigul goes throughout the rest. 2, 3, 4 is also pigul. So you must say, La mishum de kosavar kol oisa, that's Rishayna hu oisa. So says the Gemara, let's just finish this up quickly. I know the Israelis are here. We got to go quickly. So look at this. The Gemara says, it's going to shock you. Very, very simple. Let's do about peh. Look at the screens, we'll do about peh, then we'll do inside. Rish Lakish just said, it says, if you do the first 3 ketiknon, what does ketiknon mean? Green, it's good, without any bad machshava. And one of them, the last one he did without shaloi ketikna, no good, meaning he thought about pigul. What's the halacha? Possible name. He says, no, you didn't understand pshat. Ketikun means he did it with pigul thought. We're talking about a guy who wants to do pigul, and he did it mamish, a goy gomer, he wants to do with the thought of pigul. He mamish did it great, ketikna. So what does it mean, achas shaloi ketikna? The reverse, everything you thought is the opposite. So the Gemara says that doesn't make any sense. So the Gemara says, I have a different pshat. Kulam ketikna means he thought about pigul. V'achas shaloi ketikna means he did a thought of shaloi mekaymai. Now we know in Pigel, in order to be Mekayim da Aveira, there's such a thing as somebody Mekayim da Aveira, Mamish Lishma. In order to be Mekayim da Aveira of Pigel, it has to be without any thoughts. And since he had two thoughts, the second one was Shalei Mekayim, it ruined it. That's why there's no Karas. Or, not that he thought about Shalei Mekayim, he thought about Leil Lishma. Okay, so now let's see inside. It's very simple. It's Rabbanan, not Remeir. So let's go back over here. This is Shmuel. He did it great. Now, why is it not Pigel according to Rabbanan? He thought about Pigel because it's only half a matter. In order for it to be a complete Pigel, it has to be in all four hazos. It doesn't fit into the lashon, says the Gemara. It should have said maybe chutz min ha'achrain. What's shaloi ketikna? Possible by mekaris. Michlad the tikna like sherudas. It seems like shaloi ketikna is good. Omer Ava, my shaloi ketikna chutz lim kaimai. So therefore, he says another pshat. Shaloi ketikna means literally it's not good, but it's not pigol. It's another type of not good. Pigol is the worst of the worst, ketikon, and shaloi ketikna means chutz lim kaimai. Rashi Yomar, Rashi says the same thing, just instead of shaloi kaimai, shaloi shma. If you don't have this case, he started off with pigel on top and didn't think anything on the bottom. He didn't think about chutz and makam. What's the halacha? He would be mamish chayev. Why? Because we go al das rishayna. He started off with a machshava pigel and he continue. No, that's not good. Says Gemara, we don't go with al das rishayna. I did on a reisha pigol b'chayom of kares. No, the reason why it says it like this, that he thought about another machshava, is just to mimic the beginning of the Mishnah. The beginning of the Mishnah said that if he, in the outside mizbeach, if he put one zrika with a machshava of pigol, and then he did a second zrika, he thought about chutz l'makam. So what do we say? It's kares. Why is it kares in such a case, Rabbi Isai? First zrika is pigol, second zrika is chutz l'makam. You get kares. Why? There's two machshavas. The answer is because in the outside mizbeach, all you need is one machshava. The second machshava is not necessary. Oh, it's zrika, but it's a mitzvah to do, but it's not ma'akiv. It's not a matter. It's not ma'akiv. So Meila, to mimic that halacha, it said it also over here. Nothing kulam ketiknon, v'achas shaloi ketiknon. But in fact, you're right. V'chayom of kares tananami seifa pasul. Okay, have a good Voch, have a great day. Thank you for coming.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDAF.com.